Welcome to Algebra 1 with Mrs. Carroll. All right, before you do anything, make sure you have that notebook that we talked about and you pray. All right, so I want you to simplify this. So distribute that 5x and negative 5, and distribute it through the x plus 4, and then simplify it. So pause the video. Alrighty, so you'll notice that I end up with a negative 5x minus 20, and then I end up with a negative 2x minus 20 is my final answer. Okay, so we're going to be doing expressions, and we're going to talk about words in math. So when you're doing and you're thinking about words, this is how you are to build it. The arc is to be 100 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Genesis 6:15. How many of you like word problems? Come on, raise your hand. All right, most of you are going to say, not really, Mrs. Carroll. But guess what? The Bible is full of word problems. God didn't give Noah a blueprint. He just said in words what he wanted him to build, something that he hadn't actually built in that scale before. So God uses his word to teach us about life, including math. Sometimes it's hard to understand. As I said, think about Noah being told to build this big ark to hold all these animals. Not just a regular boat, but one big enough to hold everything. God gave dimensions in words, not in blueprints or equations. Think about how often God gave directions to his people in the Word, not diagrams. He made the ultimate word problem for his people in the Bible. What are the dimensions of the ark? Well, that's a word problem. Okay, so our objective is be able to define expressions, terms, and coefficients, interpret real-world meanings of math terms, and solve percentages in words. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to complete the chart. So I want you to think of as many words as you can for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. All right, and you may think of some that I don't necessarily have written down because there's a lot of them, but it could be one, so keep that in mind. But there's a couple of them that we use a lot of, so pause the video. So some of them we want to put in sentences, okay? So we want to start looking at it as increase. So 7 increased by 2x, or a number, 2 times a number. Plus a number plus 15, a number can be any variable. So when we use a number, we want you to put some variable x, y, z, or whatever, a, b, c. All right. The word and is also a plus 3 and a number. So that would be like 3 plus x. Or more than would be 9 more than x. Okay, so it's x plus 9. All right. So less than is a little bit harder to do, and I want to point out something to you that less is what we call a turnaround word. So you want to make sure you note that somewhere. So less actually means that we're going to take this 6 and we're going to turn it around, and it's going to go at the end. So that means a number, 6 less than a number is that number decreased by 6, okay? Subtracted from, the word from is also a turnaround word. So that means that number, a number, x, is going to be at the end. So that's going to be 18 minus x, a number subtracted from 18. So I had 18 things and I took x away. All right, decrease is a number decreased by 6. It actually is x minus 6. So those are the ones I need you to pay attention to, especially in subtraction, because that's usually where most students make an issue. All right, so when we're talking about multiplication, product is a term I do need you to memorize if you don't already know it. That does mean multiplication. So the product of a number, or 5 and a number, means 5 times the number, or 5x. Times is 6 times a number. Twice is 2 times a number. Double is also 2 times a number. Hopefully you know what twice and double means, okay? Divided, you have the product of t and some number. T sometimes will give you the letters, just sometimes we'll say some number, a number. That's another way we can term this, okay? The word quotient does mean divide, so I need to make sure you also have that one memorized. So product and quotient are two that we use a lot. And it says the quotient of a number in 5, which just means that it is n divided by 5. Okay, so the first number is in the numerator, second number is in the denominator. The quantity of is parentheses, so like 3 times the quantity of of 3 and d. Okay, good. Alright, so here's a couple of them. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. If I did, rewind the video and take a snapshot of those, and then come back here and see if you can answer all of these. Pause the video. Okay, so I have 4 plus a number, which is just 4 plus an x, whichever variable you could use c, I don't care. The product of 3 and a number, plus 7, so it would be the product is times, so 3 times x, plus 7. 3 less than, remember this is a turnaround word, so it's going to put it at the end, so it's x minus 3, and the quantity of 9 minus h. Okay, there's my quantity right there, 9 minus h divided by 4. You could have written it as 9 minus h over 4. This is, by the way, when we have two terms in the actual numerator or in the denominator, we put parentheses around them because we do need to make sure that that is for both of them. So in other words, if I was to split this, this would be 9 divided by 4 minus h divided by 4. Okay, so I do need to make sure that 4 goes with both of these. All right, hopefully you understand that, and that didn't make too much, wasn't too much of a surprise. Okay, we're going to play a matching game, okay? You're going to number your page 1 through 8, okay? And I have A through H down below. You're going to now match up the words with the actual expression, okay? So see how well you do. Just make sure you go backwards and look at those terms that we talked about. I also want to make sure that in your book it's on page 99, and in your workbook it's on page 35, and so we're going to write that down. Page, that's the workbook, that's the book. That is a list of terms, okay, for addition, subtraction, etc. Okay, so make sure you kind of keep an eye on that and mark it, maybe fold it down, especially if you're in your workbook. That'll be fine. All right, so now go through here and see if you can match up with what they are. Pause the video and see how well you do. Okay, so the first one is D, okay, and I have the difference of a number n5 divided by 6, okay? So the difference of, and this little comma kind of gives it away, divided by 6, so that would be, there you go. 7 less than a number, hopefully you had those. Some of those are very simple. 5 times a difference of a number in 6 does mean that 5 times is going to be on the outside, hence why that's this one. Hopefully that one was easy. Twice the sum of a number n5. Remember, we have these, and these are going to be together. So therefore, we're going to put the 2 on the outside, and we have plus 5. Okay, makes sense? Hopefully the rest of them didn't have any issues. There's a cube in here, so for 8, a number cubed plus 6, that's what that means. The cube is a 3, okay? Cube has, basically. So that's what we call that, okay? Alrighty, hopefully you did well on that. Alright, although the Bible mentions tithe of 10%, did you know that the Israelites actually tithe 28% of their income? And so I just had quoted that, changed, so we're going to talk about percents now, and how this should be a really quick review. You have percents, fractions, and decimals. You should know how to change them. If you don't, you may want to get to one of my earlier videos, okay? Alrighty, so simplifying this, okay, when we have something like this, we have 85% of 200, you're just going to turn this into a decimal, okay, which you should know because that's out of 100, it's like this. You should know that that percentage means that I have it over 100, okay? So I'm going to move that decimal over 2 times, Okay, so I would have 0.85. I would multiply that by 200 and I would get some answer. So you want to do that with all of these and pause the video and see if you can answer them, and I'll come back with the answers. Alrighty, so the first one I get is 170, the next one I get is 17, then I get 13.5, 14, and 63. Hopefully you got all of those and it wasn't too bad. So let's try some more practice. First of all, I want to make sure you realize the word of does mean multiply. I didn't stress that earlier, but I want to make sure you understand that. That would have been on your list of things too, so that helps. All right, so go ahead and do these 5. Mark it 1 through 5 on that piece of paper and see if you can answer these. Pause the video. All right, there are my answers. A little more decimals than the previous one, but still not too bad. Alrighty, so match the equivalent expressions to each scenario to the correct answer, okay? You have a discount of 50% off, okay? If you have 50% off, then that means you're going to actually pay 50%. So what you need to realize is P is like saying I have the price of something, okay? And I'm going to subtract it if I'm getting a discount. I'm going to add it if I'm increasing an amount, okay? So make sure you do that. Pause the video and see if you can get these. So I want to do the first couple of them in case you weren't quite understanding what I did. You have a discount of 50, okay? So remember we have 1p, that's my price. A discount means subtract, and I'm going to subtract 0.50, okay? And 1 minus 0.5, that's p, okay? So 50% of the price. All right, that's going to give me 0.50p or 0.5p, okay? I don't have to put a 0 there. On the other hand, if I have a sales tax, I'm actually increasing my amount. So I'm starting with my p again, but this time I'm going to add. So when you have the word increase, you're adding. When you have the word discount, you're subtracting. That may help you a little bit as you're going on. All right, so always start with the letter P, okay, for price, whatever I paid for this thing. And I'm going to add 5%. Well, it's 0.05, so you should know that you're going over 2, and that's going to be P. All right, so that's just going to be 1.05p. So whatever my price is, if I want to know how much I'm actually spending with tax, if I have a 5% tax, I would just multiply 1.05 and I'd get the answer. So try the rest of these if you didn't already. Hopefully you got them, and then match them where they go. Pause the video. Alright, this one was, I did put a lot of arrows all over the place, so if this makes sense, great. If it doesn't, I did actually match them with the letters, okay, so that means I'd move them around a little bit, so you know where they went, okay, so kind of thinking about it, and that may help as well. So if you numbered your page 1 through 6, and then you put the letters on, this might be a little easier to get. If you missed it, please look at it and see why. Okay, so let's take a look at a discount of 35%. Now that we've done it once, I now want you, without looking at answers, to actually write an expression. All right, we're going to use, for this, we're just going to use a P, okay? Again, discount would be minus, raise would be plus, so you're going to always put the P with it, with whatever it goes with, and then put this in decimal form and then solve it. So remember, it's 1 minus 0.35, okay? And that should give me a number, and that's a P with it, okay? And then this one is 0.04p. All right, so go ahead and do the other ones in here and answer these first two. Pause the video. All right, here are they are worked out, kind of showing you what it is. I did use the letter X, just a habit of mine as an algebra teacher, but P is fine as well, okay? Hopefully you got that, and we're going to do a little more practice from the beginning. All right, I need you to look and number your page 1 through 16. You're going to now come up with a word or a sentence, a math sentence. So if we look at the very first one, it should be fairly simple. 15 more than x is basically x plus 15. I do keep turning it around because more is just like less. It is a turnaround word. So I always put it in the end. But if you know anything about commutative, 15 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 15. So it's not stressed as much, but it still would be x plus 15. All right, pause the video, see if you can answer the rest of these. Good luck. All right, there are all my answers. The second one is 25 minus x. Remember, less is a turnaround word. I want to kind of point that one out to you. It looks like none of the other ones are too bad. 8 less number 11 is 8 less than a number x, so it'll be x minus 8. The product of 13 and h is obviously 13 times h. Quotient would be a division. Remember, the numerator is always said first, the denominator is second. And what is the difference between 8 and n would be 8 minus n. Hopefully you got all those and you didn't have any problem. Your homework today is 1.4. It's in your textbook. It is page 30. In your workbook, it is 6 and 7. All right, your exit ticket. Which expression would we would not use to find the price of an item that is 20% off? Pause the video and see if you can get this. Number C would be your answer because that is an increase of 20%. Have a great day.